Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an amazing card game with tons of opportunities to create, mix, and explore different things. But it's also pretty expensive, and dudes don't really have the money for it right now. However, we've set out to do our own sealed-only challenge. Although, until we're actually able to buy the cards that we'll need, we'll have to settle with online services, honing and sharpening our skills until we're ready. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Unsealed. Alright, hello humans, welcome back. I'm the Artist with a Fro, and welcome back to the show. Before we get into a couple of the duels that I'm going to be displaying later on in this video, I figured that we actually go into some of the new Senka Support cards that just recently came out, and try to include, or rather try to give a little bit more information on how they're going to run specifically, and how exactly it might help or not help the deck, kind of like moving forward. Without further ado, let's pretty much just get started. I'm just going to open up the deck over here so that way we can look through the cards, but I actually have all of the other four new support cards minus the spell card. I will bring it up though, so that way we can look at that as well. I also want to take this time to say thank you guys for all the support. I can't tell you guys enough how much I've just enjoyed seeing, I guess, our following and our crew, our group of humans kind of draw and come out of the woodwork and join in with the Artist with a Fro channel. It's really been a great motivator for me to make a lot more content, make a lot more gameplay walkthroughs, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Content as well. I do have a few other video projects in the works that I want to make, and I hope you guys enjoy those. But like I said, let's actually focus more on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff for today, and then we'll get into more of the other stuff as the months and as this year kind of goes forward. But again, thank you all. So starting straight off, we're going to look at the Senka strategist, GAE Cone, which is a reference to Zhuge Liang. He was the strategist for Shu Han, the forces of Liu Bei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, etc., etc. And his effect is fairly okay, but it kind of goes back to that thing that I mentioned in episode 2. Be sure to watch all the episodes of Unsealed at the Artist with a Fro YouTube channel. It says that if this card is added from your deck to your hand, by the effect of a Senka card, you can special summon this card. Now, when a spell or trap card is activated, he has a quick effect. He's the first Senka so far with the quick effect. He says that you can send one face-up Senka, continue a spell or trap you control to the graveyard, negate the activation. Now, it also says when a monster's effect is activated while you control Senka Noble Liu Xuan, you can send one face-up Senka, continue a spell or trap card you control to the graveyard to negate that activation. You can only use the effects of his, you can only use each effect once per turn, so on and so forth. Like I mentioned before, one of the things that I said back in episode 2 was that they need a sort of Kizan type of card. Some card that, when you have a Senka on the field, you can special summon it. Now, GAE Cone is actually close to that, but he's not there specifically. Yes, you can add him to your hand with Senka Legend 3 Visits, and yes, you can add him to your hand with Senka Noble Sun Mo or Sun Quan, but it still doesn't help the deck out universally because he is very reliant on you either having Sun Mo and you having the spell card. So both of those two cards can get Ash Blossomed, and in a meta game, or rather in a game that's currently going to shift thanks to Master Rule 5, and now that everybody's going to be searching and special summoning and whatnot, everybody's going to have Ghost Ogres, everybody's going to be running Ash Blossoms, and the minute that they negate one of those two cards, you're kind of just left in the dust. Had he had a simple effect where it's just if you control a Senka monster, if you control another Senka monster, let's make it more fair, special summon this card from your hand, then it would have been a lot better. But we're still kind of waiting for it. The quick effects, again, like I mentioned, are fine. The one quick effect, yes, okay, he works better with Liu Xuan, so they kind of have this coexistence, but again, it's very reliant. He's more reliant on other cards for him to be good. And unlike the Senka, I believe it's the Senka, I'm going to look at this card up. Unlike this card, unlike Senka Tactician Lu Jing and Zhou Gong, both of them can send a spell card, any continuous spell or trap card. GAE Cone actually he has the requirement that you have to have a face-up continuous Senka Speller Trap card. So that automatically rules out Tenki, Tensu, any other cards that you'd be playing in this deck, and it kind of just doesn't really make it worthwhile. Like, yes, 3 Visits is probably their best card so far, but they're too reliant on it. And it's like, if that card gets destroyed, if it gets taken out, then, or again, like I mentioned, if it gets Ash Blossomed or Ghost Ogre, then that's pretty much it. So not so good. They could have done a little bit better. All right, now we're on to Senka Chief. Now, I'm going to let you guys know that there is a proper way to pronounce his name, and there is an improper way to pronounce his name. Now, the way that they spelled his name is C-A-O, and for anybody that's not in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world, that would be seen, or that would be pronounced as cow. However, in the actual pronunciation, and yes, this might be me being kind of like anal about this, but in the actual pronunciation, it's actually pronounced Sao, as in T-S-A-O. So it's Sao Day instead of Cow Day. Like, not cow like a moo, like Sao, like, I don't know what I could compare that to. But anyway, Senka Chief Sao Day says that while you control another Senka monster, your opponent cannot target this card with any card effects. So that's pretty good so far. He says also it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, another really good requirement. It says you can only use each of the following effects of Senka Chief Sao Day once per turn. It says if a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one other card from your hand, field, or field to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. That alone, you know what, let me just read the rest before we actually get into that. The second effect says when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your field in defense position. This card is actually really good. Like, this card is the card that I wish Guan Yun was, but I'm not too mad about the overall effect that it has. So if a card or cards your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, so this includes, and I'm gonna list them out if you wanna like think about it: Mystical Space Typhoon, Twin Twisters, Raigeki Dark Hole, Tribute of the Doomed, I'm trying to think of like what other Man-Eater Bug. Heck, you could chain this to like a lot of cards. There are a lot of cards that destroy cards immediately. And this is kind of just like, you know, easy, well, let me just send something else and then special summon a 3000 beater. So this is like reaching Blue Eyes alternative eyes levels of like ease of special summoning a very high level, high attack towards boss monster. The Goyo Guardian effect isn't too bad, but it's not what you're really going to be relying on. It's really just getting like him out. And there's probably going to be some way you can combo that into the other Senka's abilities. He's not like the worst one. Like I said before, he's probably better than Guan Yun. So if we went back to like the first or second build that we made in our episodes, and how I was mentioning like we might take out one Guan Yun and replace it with a third Zhang Fei, we might switch out. Like, he could be one of the cards that we're probably going to put in our side deck. Kind of situational, but way better than GAE Cone. Sao Day is up there. He's up there. Let's get to the real card though. The one that I think is going to be way more viable, like in the long term, while we still wait for that one Senka card to come out that's actually going to be really good. We have let me see, this is the Sanka Herald Zhang Yuan. This is referencing Zhang Liao, and it's interesting. It's actually, in my opinion, I find it kind of cool that like they have the castle behind them, which is something that I didn't even notice that the other Senkas might have different backgrounds. But they have the castle behind them, and it says your other Senka monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. That's automatically that right there. That alone just makes this card like awesome. So your Senkas can't be destroyed by battle. Cool. You can only use each of the following effects of Senka Herald Zhang Yuan once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if your Senka monster battles an opponent's face-up monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, that opponent's monster loses 1000 attack. Let me just make this clear for you guys. This is not a targeting effect. The card does not say target one monster. All it says is that monster loses 1000 attack at the start of the damage step. So this means that like you're automatically getting a extra monster. So let's say you had the Sun Liu Alliance, you're automatically getting an extra monster. So your Senka monsters will gain a lot more attack points. Then the monster that it's battling is like losing 1,000. So you're chipping off a big section of kind of like what you want. And the best part about this is that, like, yes, it's only once per turn, but he's basically better, in my opinion, kind of better than Honest, because you're getting an extra body on the field. And then the second effect says if a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroys it. So let's bring it back to the Sao Day effect, right? You summon him, or let's say you activate Mystical Space Typhoon, Twin Twister, Tribute of the Doom, Dark Hole, Raigeki, whatever, etc. Like you summon it, destroy something, now you get a second destroying. Yes, this one is a target, so it might be negated, but who cares? Like, you're getting another monster and you're getting another body for pretty much nothing. Like, this card is kind of insane how good he is, and he's probably going to be something that you're going to be searching a lot more with the 3 visits, instead of going, of course, always for the ever loving, the ever famous Zhang Fei. Let's get on to the last monster card before we look at the spell cards, or rather the one spell card that was added. So this is Senka Schemer Jia Wen. And this says you can target one continuous spell or trap card you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, halve the attack of 2 face-up monsters on the field until the end of this turn. Again, I'm going to say this one more time. This is not a targeting effect. So, if your opponent has, not even if your opponent, all it really says is half the attack of 2 face-up monsters. So you can have 2 of your own if you so choose for some strange, odd, random reason. Whatever. If a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Senka in your graveyard, except Senka Schemer, add it to your hand. You can only use the effect of Senka Schemer once per turn. Very good, very situational. Can kind of like help himself if he, let's say, okay, let's think about more situational wise, because the Schemer is probably another one of those cards that we're going to run a one of, along with Lu Jing, just because it's very like, okay, it's so, but it's much better than Lu Jing in my opinion, because you're getting a big plus by not targeting any of your opponent's monsters, and you can choose 2 of them and just halve them. Like, that alone is kind of ridiculous. And yes, like I know I mentioned before that GAE Cone had the reliability of needing the spell cards on the field. However, this is one of those things which just like, this is where you can plus into your 3 visits card. Instead of waiting for 3 visits to like actually be worth something, like this automatically uses 3 visits. So we're definitely going to be running one of him when the cards actually come out. I am kind of disappointed that they're going to be in Eternity Code and not Ignition Assault, which means that we are going to have to wait another 3 months after we've already started the Unsealed journey. But so far, out of these 4, out of GAE Cone, Sao Day, Zhang Yuan, and Jia Wen, we're definitely adding Zhang Yuan. Like, he's going in like already, immediately. I'm probably going to take out the other Guan Yun and put him in, and Schemer's definitely going to be added in as a one-of. Sao Day, I was about to say Cow Day. Sao Day is going to be in the side deck, and GAE Cone we're actually not going to be playing because he's not worth it. He's really just not that good. We're going to go on to the last card, which was Senka Legend 100,000 Arrows. This card says you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and one Senka monster you control until the end of that turn. Half that opponent's monster's attack, and if you do, add that lost attack to the monster that you control. So basically, it's like you're taking the attack from one monster and you're adding it to yourself. Even if this card leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard while you control 2 or more Senka monsters with different attributes, you can place one Senka continuous spell or trap from your hand or deck face up on the field, except for 100 arrows. So you're basically using this to get to really just get your your Sun Liu Alliance, and that's pretty much it. So it's another okay, very kind of situational, might slow down the deck but also might not. Is very good, I guess I would say, if you're not getting the cards that you need, but half the time, if you're not running any of these other cards, you're pretty much going to pull off some of the stuff that you are going to run. So we're going to put this probably in the side deck as well. The other cards, as I mentioned before, are just going to be added into the main deck and into the others. So that's going to end it really just for me in regards to reviewing some of these new cards. As I mentioned before, I did want to include one duel. So the duel that I'm going to include is probably not going to be a winning duel, because I want to show you guys more of what the deck struggles with when it's confronted with faster, or I guess more meta competent style decks. So thank you for enjoying this half of the video. I hope you guys enjoy my commentary when we get into the duel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.